Hey guys, how's it going? Happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend. Let me go ahead and set up this room and then we can get started. Let's post everything up real quick. Dang, today's the 18th. This month's flying by. We had a crazy week ahead of us, guys. Well, not really that crazy, but today's a holiday, so the market's gonna be slow. On Wednesday, we have the presidential inauguration, so that's when the market's going to get a little crazy, I think. But we're probably going to have a slow start to the week, which is not too bad. So we'll see how this plays out, but let me go ahead and set up this room, and then once we have this all set up, we can get started. Let's get this loaded up. Send this out to all of our pages real quick. Let me send this out over here. Hey, morning, Billy. Morning, Indra. Morning, everybody. Nice. Billy said made 900 off that GJ. Definitely needed that. Yeah. So if you guys sat in on my session yesterday, you guys saw that we analyzed the JPY pairs. Billy took a sell for GJ, which is really nice. Looks like it came down pretty nicely. So looking at it over here, nice drop right there, full TP. So Billy locked in about 900 bucks off that. It's pretty awesome. Let me just send out this link real quick over here. Everyone else can hop in. Send it out there. All right, cool. Let me send this out to our Facebook real quick. And then a couple other places. See this. We got that there. Let me post it on our IG real quick. Oh, one other place. Let me post it on the email as well. So let me send this out to the rest of our pages, and I think we should be good from here. Copy that link. All right, one last place, our Instagram. We should be good. Copy the link. Got that posted up there. Swipe up button on there. All right, I think we're good to go, guys. So I think that's about it for posting these links up. So happy Monday, guys. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Nice, CT. I don't know if you're in here, but I just saw your picture. It looks like you're out in Huntington Beach this weekend. Cool. But yeah, guys, happy Monday. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Obviously today is a holiday for the US. So market's pretty slow overall, like we anticipated. But we'll just wait and see how everything plays out from there. Obviously, we still have our US 30 position open from yesterday. The most recent signal was a sell, so the next signal is going to be a buy. So I think this should be good right here. Let me see if there's any zones that I should, possibly be aware of before we get started. So it looks like we do have some nice rejections off these points over here. If that's the case, turn this off. So yeah, it has a nice rejection right here with that buy signal, and it shot up pretty nicely. So if it does come back down, it might come back down for a retest of this structure right here before, bouncing back up. So we'll see how that plays out. But, until then, we will we'll just analyze everything else. So let me go ahead and check out the chat real quick, see if there's anything in here before we continue forward. Hey, morning, Peter. How's it going, bro? Billy said, crazy part is I closed partials along the way down. I had I held a full position, we'll lock down 1,500 to 2,000. I'll send you a screenshot though. Yeah, definitely, Billy. So nice work on that. If you guys sat in on my live session yesterday, I analyzed GJ over here for Billy, and he held on to it. He hit full TP, but he did take partial. So if you're looking at the chat right here, Billy made about 900 off GJ right here. He took a standard lot, but then he sold off partials along the way. So he only locked in 900, but he could have locked in about 1,500, 2,000, which is nice too. But profit's profit, and I'll take that 900 any day. Let's see. Morning, Matt. Morning, Karen. Morning, Razul. Morning, Joey. Morning, Deswell. Morning, everybody. Razul said, Shawn, can I still take the US 30 or is it too late? So Razul, US 30 is right at entry. So if you want to take the trade, you can. I'm still in the trade. So if you want to take it, I'm still in it too. So feel free to take it if you want. And the thing is with this today's entry, since the previous signal was a sell right here, and the market opened right here at 6:30, the next signal is going to be a buy signal. So if we get a buy signal, then it's just going to continue in our direction. So if you want to enter that, Russell, feel free. It is below entry right now. I think some people might have taken profit up here. Let me see how far did it go up. Yeah, so some people took profit up here. I was asleep, so I wasn't able to. This was 3:10 a.m. my time. So I was asleep. I didn't see this, but I'm still currently in the position right now as well. So if you want to take that, feel free. You should be good for the most part. I don't really see anything wrong with it. So if you want to take that trade, go ahead. Yeah, other than that, we're just gonna be looking for that buy entry. Hopefully we get a buy entry because then it'll just push price up, and then maybe I can double up on my position. So that's that for the most part. Let's see if there's anything else here before we get started. Morning, Merspa. How's it going, bro? Merspa wants me to take a look at Euro CHF. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat so I can analyze anything that you guys want. The thing with today's market is that it is a holiday. So the market's just going to be very slow today. So if you guys have questions, that'll be better because I don't really have anything to really look at. I'll probably go down the watch list a few times, see if there's anything to take. But for the most part, I have analyzed everything and there just isn't any entries right now. Obviously, I went down the list, Audit CAD, it's at structure and it's just going sideways. Odd CHF, same situation right here, rejection off this point. We would have wanted it to close below here for an entry. So you guys can see, a clear description here that like everything is kind of just going sideways. It dropped last night and then it shot right back up. It's back to where it started. Same with odd JPY over here. The JPYs were dropping, but then they pulled back slightly. In addition to our confirmations, what I did, guys, is I created a new chart right here for the indexes. So like, for example, here, if we're taking odd JPY, I'll open the index for the Aussie right here, and then I'll open the index for JPY over here. And then I'll see, sorry, not that one, JPY, and then I'll see how strong they are. So you can see right here, they're both trending down, right? Because they're both below the pivots and they're both bearish. So the problem with that is that one has to be stronger than the other in order for this to head down or for this to head up. So with both of these weak right now, for the most part, it looks like the Aussie index is weaker because it's a strong bearish candle right here, while the Japanese index is weak, but it's not as strong as this one. See, it's just a small candle. It's not huge like this one. So with that said, this is going to indicate that the JPY is stronger than the Australian dollar. So in that situation, that's probably why this is going to come down from there. So that's just another thing that I added to my confluences just to confirm trades when we take them. Because, obviously when I take trades, I want to take them if I'm 100%. I don't want to just take them if I'm maybe there. I only want to take them if I know they're definitely going to hit. So keep that in mind. This is just another addition that I brought up. If you guys understand how the dollar indexes work, obviously this will indicate how strong this specific currency is. So that's just another addition there. And other than that, I think that's about it. If you guys see here on the list, on the watch list, I've added all of the indexes here to all of our pairs. So I added the Aussie index, the Euro index, the British pound index, the New Zealand dollar index, Canadian dollar index, Swiss franc index, and the Japanese index right here. So this helps us determine how strong a currency is. So if we do take a trade like this right here, we'll be comfortable because we'll understand that this is this is stronger than this, or this is stronger than this, vice versa. So let me go down the list real quick and see if there's anything else that we can take a look at. So Deswell's asking, did we call US 30 already? Not yet, Deswell. We haven't even gotten to the candle yet because it's the market just opened here at 6:30. So it's the first signal after it. This is from yesterday, Deswell. I'm not sure if you saw this in the chat, but we took this yesterday using Josh's new strategy. So this is a pending entry right here, but we still have another one that's possibly going to appear, within the next couple minutes or so. So let me go down the chat again real quick, see if there's anything else here. Okay, Razul wants me to take a look at GBP Cad. Okay, cool, Razul. Let me add you to the list. So Razul wants me to take a look at GBP Cad. Morning, Hope. Hopefully you had a great weekend. Morning, Victor. Good morning. Mersiba said, smart. Can we also take a look at NZD/USD? So Mersiba, take a look at NZD/USD. And I think that's about it. Morning, Active. Morning, everybody. So just like I mentioned earlier, hopefully you guys had a great weekend. We're back in the markets for today. Today is a U.S. holiday. If you guys aren't familiar, it's MLK Day. So the U.S. banks are closed today. So we're probably not going to see too much volatility in the market. But, obviously we're still going to want to trade and we're still going to be looking for entries, even though the U.S. market's going to be overall slow. It's probably not going to pick up until London session later tonight. London reopen the day after, actually. Because the markets will be in full swing by then. This week's going to be a little bit of a weird week, guys. Today, because of the holiday, the market's going to be slow. And then on Wednesday, Biden is going to have his inauguration. So, when that happens, we're probably going to see a spike in volatility as Trump leaves the House and Biden enters. So this could be a good or bad thing. There's not necessarily one way or the other. It just depends on, if the market moves in our direction when all this stuff happens this week. Overall, I think the market's just going to be slow today. So we'll try to prep for the rest of the week. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will take a look at everything else that has been asked right now, and then we'll continue on with this session as we progress through it. So first off, we have Euro CHF for Mersiba, we have GBP Cad for Azul, and then we have NZD USD for Mersiba as well. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then we can go ahead and take a look at that. So the first pair we're going to look at is Euro CHF. Let me pull that up for you over here. Here is Euro CHF right here. This is what I analyzed yesterday. Obviously, identify these rejection points, sell signal. We were waiting for price to break structure right here, which it did. It broke structure and it closed, and then it tested this structure right here. So it did exactly what we anticipated, right? We anticipated it to come down, break structure right here, which it did. And then after that, it ended up dropping to this structure right here. And generally when it reaches a structure down here, it can either reject off right here, or it can break down from this point. But I'll analyze this from scratch, Mersiba, so you can see what I was looking at. I know you were here yesterday in the live session, but we will go ahead and take a look again. So let me delete everything off this chart. Here we have a naked chart, nothing on the chart yet. I'm going to turn on the K² SR indicator, and you guys know exactly how I analyze things, right? I identify the structure. Once I identify the structure, I look at the momentum to identify the bias in this trade, and then I'll analyze it from that point. So looking at this right here, we got the Euro CHF. We got structures right there. We've got structures right here. We've got structures up here. Lastly, we have some last structures all the way up here. All right, good. So we'll go ahead and hide this. And you guys can see from this point, we have some nice structures drawn throughout, right? So everything's drawn throughout pretty nicely. One thing that I want to keep an eye on is price structure down here in case price breaks below. So I'm going to go in the higher time frame, and I'm going to identify any lower structures below current price. So nothing there on the 8-hour. There we go. We got something here on the daily. So let's see, we draw this structure from here to there. Go back on this 4-hour. Hide that, and there we go. So there's some nicely drawn structures right there. You can see how accurate these have lined up in identifying structure all the way back from November, or even farther than that. So if you go farther back, you can see that Euro CHF is basically a ranging pair. And you can see right here that it's literally been in the structured price. So price is currently right here. The first time it was here recently was back in January of 2020. So this same exact time last year, watch, check this out. It's crazy because you can see here on January 18th of last year, it's in the same exact price point where it is now, right? Same exact price point. So what do you think is going to happen here? I think what's going to happen is it'll probably repeat itself and do the same thing it did over here. So you can see this point right here is where price currently is today, the 18th. There we go. It's in the same exact price point as it is right now. So looking at this from this point, you can see it retraced up a little bit and then it came down pretty heavy. So same situation over here. So check this out. It rejected off this point, came up and then came down, right? Look at price right now. Price is currently doing the same exact thing. It's probably going to come up, reject off this point and come straight back down. So you guys can see how strong these zones are because we were able to predict what might happen here due to what happened the same exact day last year in 2020. So this gives you a huge advantage in the market because if you have these zones, you know, obviously if you're drawing these zones on your own, you're not going to have these perfect zones, right? Because the algorithm that we have pretty much plots these perfect zones where price is tested in the past. So, you know, some people like to draw their own zones in random places. They're like, oh, I'll draw a zone right here. I'll draw a zone down here. But if you have the indicators, they give you these perfect zones on the chart for you so you can identify exactly where the rejection points are. So going back to what I was just discussing earlier, looks like history just might repeat itself there. Once we have the zones drawn up, what we do next is we turn on the momentum indicator to identify the bias here. So looking at the chart right here, we have, fix this. We have a rejection from this point. We have a sell signal from this point. And then we have a break in structure right here. So price broke structure. It tested this structure right here. What might happen is it might retrace up from here, and then it might test this structure. And then from this point over here, like I mentioned earlier, it might come right back down and close below here. So if this happens and it closes below here, then I will take a short position from that point. Because looking back at previous data, so if I hide this over here and we go back to previous data, like I mentioned in January of last year, see when it broke structure right here? See when it broke structure right here? What happened? It came straight down, right? So right here, if it breaks structure again, it'll come right back down because this is January 18th, 2021. This is January 18th, 2020. And what happened from that point? It shot up slightly, like I mentioned right here. It might even go up higher. It might shoot up slightly to retrace, and then it'll come back down and come crashing down pretty heavy. So that's basically what I see happening right here for EUR/CHF. If you guys are familiar with like how Forex pairs move, you know, it usually repeats itself year after year if you guys are able to identify these patterns. So just looking at this point right here, Merciba, this is, you know, pretty much what I see happening for EUR/CHF. You know, like I mentioned, I wait for it to close below here before taking it because the last thing you want to do is enter a short position right here. And then it spikes up, like I mentioned, it can spike up to here or it can spike up to here. If that happens, it'll stop you out before going to TP, right? And you don't want that to happen. So if you go back to this time last year, January 18, 2020, you can see that it's the same thing that I mentioned here, right? I would have waited for price to close below the structure right here before I take that sell, because the thing is, if you enter the sell like right here, you could have possibly gotten stopped out if your stop loss was too tight. See how I got close to the stop loss right here? You could have possibly gotten stopped out, but if you waited for price to break structure down here, you would have hit full TP with like little to no drawdown, right? So that's why I'd be careful with this, and I'd wait for that full confirmation before entering this trade over here. So keep that in mind. You know, until then, just be patient with it. So that's pretty much what I see here for EUR/CHF. Let me see if there's anything else to look at before we continue on. All right, let's see if we got anything else here. Lisa wants me to take a look at EUR/USD. So Lisa wants me to take a look at EUR/USD. Let's see if there's anything else here. Merspot said, thanks, man. I had to leave the live yesterday. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Morning, Kasim. Morning, Varun. Hey, Mark. Morning, sorry for being late had to send a call. Yeah, no problem, Mark. It's all good. Varun said it's so boring when there's a market holiday. Yeah, I agree, Varun. The market's just overall super slow today because of obviously the holiday this morning. Let me turn on my alert for US 30 for when that comes. But yeah, guys, if you guys aren't familiar, today is a US holiday, like I mentioned earlier. And because of that, we have low volatility in the market. So the market's moving super slow overall. I've looked over all the pairs here and I didn't see anything worth taking just yet. I took this speculative AUD USD trade yesterday. I'm currently in profit about 67 bucks, which is not too bad. So if you guys sat in on my session yesterday, you guys would have seen why I took this trade. I'm still holding on to it. I might even take off my TP and then let it run this week because with the inauguration, the US dollar might be strong. And just looking at the dollar index over here. So we have the AUD index and then we have the dollar index right here. This is going to indicate that the AUD is weak right here, the Australian dollar, and then the US dollar is strong because obviously it's trending up right here. It's above the trend and it's pushing up. It's just having some small retracement right here. But if you compare the two, the dollar index is way stronger than the Aussie dollar. So just keep that in mind. This is just another addition that I've included in my analysis for you guys. So if you guys understand how this works, for trading something like the Aussie USD right here, I have the two indexes open right here. I have the Aussie index so I can see how strong the Aussie dollar is. And then I have the dollar index over here to see how strong the US dollar is. Obviously, if this is coming down and this is going up, that's going to indicate that odd USD is going to come down because when price is going in this direction down, this is going to indicate that the second currency is stronger than the first currency. When price is going up, this is going to indicate that the first currency is stronger than the second. So right here, I have a sell. Obviously for here, I want the US dollar to be stronger than the Australian dollar, right? So going to this analysis right here, it shows that the Australian dollar is weak while the US dollar is strong. I mean, they're both coming down right now, but overall, this is in a downtrend and this is in an uptrend. So even though this is a temporary pullback right here, I anticipate this to possibly swing back up from this point. And then I anticipate the Aussie dollar over here to continue down because it's in a downtrend, right? So once this happens and the dollar index shoots up, this is going to push this position down into profit. So just keep that in mind, guys. But this is just another addition to my analysis, just to confirm, my theory. If I think price is going to go up, price is going to go down for a specific pair. So that's about it right here. Other than that, let me check out the chat real quick, and then I'll see what else we're looking at. Let's see. Morning City, how's it going, bro? Hey, David, you're here. Looks like you don't have work today, right? You're in D-Res today. Varun said you didn't send that trade in the premium channel. No, Varun, it wasn't sent in the premium channel because it wasn't an official trade. It was just a speculative trade that I called during the live session yesterday. So reason for this is because I indicated that the US dollar was going to be pretty strong this week because of the inauguration. So if you look at all of the USD pairs, they're all coming down, right? Odd USD, it's coming down. Euro USD, it's coming down. GBP USD, it's coming down. NZD USD, it's coming down. USD CHF, it's going up. USD JPY, it's also coming up. And lastly, USD CAD, it's also going up as well. So there is a lot of stuff there, pushing price in a certain direction. But, due to the bank holiday today, volatility is just going to be super, super slow. So just keep that in mind. Bitcoin said, Shawn, please look at Euro USD. Yeah, Bitcoin. So I have that on the list ready for Lisa. So I'll add you to that as well. So here's a list right now, guys. I have GBP Cad for Azul. I have NZD USD for Mersabop. And then I have Euro USD for Lisa and Bitcoin. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. And then I can analyze anything that you guys want or answer any questions you guys have relating to trading. So let me go ahead and continue on with this. So our next question is GBP Cad. I'm going to pull up GBP Cad right here. And I'm just going to redraw everything. So I'm going to delete all the zones from the chart, zoom out from this point, turn on the K2SR indicator. And then I'm going to draw my zones for you guys. So we got this one right here. We've got this one right here. This one right here. there. This one right there. All right, so everything here looks good for the most part. Once we got our zones drawn up on the chart, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator right here. And obviously right here, we have a bullish momentum, right? So we have a rejection from this point. We have a bullish momentum signal right here. We have a break in structure right here. But obviously, volatility in the market's been super slow. So what I see happening right here is I probably see price rejecting off this point. You can see that prices had trouble breaking below the structure, right? You can see it came up, it broke, then it retested, and then it pretty much just went sideways. It looks like it's charging up for a push upwards. So I would want to wait for this to possibly close above here before you take a buy entry. So right here, we have an invalid sell. And this might change the dynamics of things. But we'll have to wait and see how this ends up playing out from this point. Looking at GCAD right here, let's see what's stronger. So like how I mentioned this new addition to the analysis that I'm doing, I'll open the British Pound Index right here, and then I'll open Canadian Index over here to see how strong each currency is. So looks like they're both bearish, but they're both pushing up right now, right? So you can see that price is pushing up for the British pound right here, and price is pushing up for the Canadian dollar right here as well. So with that said, it's just going to consolidate sideways until one becomes stronger than the other. So it's just going to go sideways until these split up. So this is going to have to go one direction, and this is going to have to go one direction as well. So looking at this here, I mean, they're both trending down, but it looks like the Canadian dollar is going to swing back up. So it looks like the Canadian dollar will be in strength in comparison to the British pound. And with that said, if that happens, then this could possibly come down from this point, right? Because if the Canadian dollar is stronger than the British pound, then this currency pair goes down. Vice versa, if the British pound is stronger than the Canadian dollar, then this would swing up from that point. It's like a seesaw. So if you guys don't understand how to read price when it's moving for a specific pair, basically if price is going up, that means the first currency is stronger than the second currency. You can see this as a seesaw because when price is going this way, you can see that this is heavier, meaning it's stronger. Vice versa, when price is coming down, you can see that the Canadian dollar is stronger than the British pound, right? So just going back to that analysis that I was looking at over here, they're both going in the same direction. Like they're both going up right now. So that's why you kind of see this sideways movement right here, right? So once these split up, like say this starts to head down pretty heavy and this starts to push up. If that happens, where this becomes, a bearish candle and this continues on as a bullish candle, then you could probably see this be lopsided and then it'll break out of this range and then head down in this direction. So you guys could keep that in mind right here when looking at this specific pair. But Razul, just looking at GCAD right now, it's just consolidating. I think if it breaks above this structure right here and closes, then you can take a buy entry. But if this ends up swinging back down here and then provides for a sell signal, then we can take a short position from that point. But looking at the indexes right here, it looks like the Canadian dollar is stronger than the British pound currently. So if that's the case, then odds are this is going to head downwards, right? But with the bank holiday today, the market's just overall slow. So we would just have to wait and be patient with it before, we decide to make any decisions on any of these trades here. So I would be patient. I wouldn't enter the trade yet because the last thing you want to do is enter a trade and then it ends up ranging, right? Which it is doing right now. So it's ranging and then say you enter a buy position, right? If you enter a buy position and then this ends up going down and this ends up going up, if that happens, then this is going to spike down. And it's going to stop you out. Vice versa, if you enter this trade for a short position, it could do the same exact thing in the opposite direction. So like, for example, here, if this ends up swinging up and becoming strong and this ends up swinging down, then you can anticipate this to shoot up here and probably hit your stop loss. So that's why I'd wait for that full confirmation before entering the trade. I wouldn't just enter just to enter. I would be, pretty careful with this and just wait for it to close in either direction. And if you want to do what I'm doing here, this is very, very helpful. It's been helpful to me to pretty much identify exactly what's like 100% trade and what's not. So this is one thing to keep in mind. You don't need to do this, but obviously for me, I like to be a very careful trader. I don't like to lose. So obviously I want to make sure that the trade's 100% before I take any trade. So that's it for GCAD right here. Let me see if there's anything else to look at before we continue on. So Mercibot said, how much longer will the US dollar go up before it's overpriced and goes down in value from inflation? So Mercibot, I think you're getting stuff confused. Like there's really no overpriced price for the US dollar. If the price wants to go up, it can continue to keep going up. You can't just be like, oh, the dollar is too expensive and it'll come down, right? It's not like a stock. It's different. Forex market is totally different from stocks, from other commodities and stuff like that, because they're paired with other currencies, right? So if you're trading something, I forgot what you asked for before, Mercibot, but oh, you want NZD USD. So if you're looking at NZD USD, there's no overbought or oversold. Price can continue going up for as long as it wants, or it can continue dropping for as long as it wants either. It's paired with another currency. So unless you're trading the specific index, which I'm sure you're not, you're not trading the futures. Unless you're trading the index, then you can identify that as stuff being overbought or oversold, because these are limited quantities. If you're trading a Forex pair, there's no overbought or oversold. That's why when I see people use RSIs for overbought or oversold, or MACD or stochastics, it doesn't work, because these specific assets they're not oversold or overbought, right? So like, for example, a lot of people like to use RSI, like I mentioned earlier, and this never works, right? So you can see right here, it's overbought, like how you just mentioned right now, Mercibot. So for example, here it's overbought, right? It still keeps pushing up further, even though it's overbought. It's not like a stock where it comes crashing down at some point. Same situation over here. Price was overbought right here, but what happened? It went all the way up from overbought to overbought, right? So just keep that in mind, Mercibot. I know that, this is still kind of new to you, so it's like, you don't necessarily understand how this works completely, but looking at this here, you can see how it's overbought. It doesn't work. Like, don't ever use the overbought function for Forex, because it's overbought here. And if you were to take a sell there, you would have missed out on this huge move upwards. So just keep that in mind for analyzing Forex pairs, because they just don't work the same way. So US 30, we just got a buy signal right here. It's pending. Sorry, my dog keeps barking. It's scratching. Kai, stop scratching. US 30 right here, we have a pending buy signal right here. We have 9 minutes left on this candle. So we will continue back to this within the next couple of minutes. Otherwise we will look for other analyses as we continue. So let me go ahead and take this off over here. And let me go through the chat real quick before we continue forward. So looking at this over here, Varun said we will be taking US 30 tomorrow then, right? Varun, we'll probably be taking it today. I'm not waiting till tomorrow to take this trade, because we're already in a buy. So if we get a buy entry right here, then it's just going to double up on our position. We'll be good to go for another buy position right there. So if we get this entry right here and this closes, then I'll take it. It's just, we probably would have to use the exit strategy, because the market's just super slow right now. But we'll keep this in mind right now. Other than that, let me continue on and look at the other questions here. So, and I promise Anthony wants me to take a look at Nasdaq. So let me pull up Nasdaq as well. So I'm gonna add you to the list, Anthony. So Anthony wants Nasdaq 100. We continue down further. Let's see. Hamizan said U.S. index is going to fall again. Rebuy the. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm looking at the dollar index over here. It's actually pretty bullish. So I'm not sure where you thought it was going to drop, because I think this is probably the only bullish pair compared to all of the indexes. So look at the dollar here. It's strong, right? You compare it with any other index. The Aussie dollar is weak. The euro is very weak. The pound index is weak. The New Zealand dollar is weak. Canadian dollar is weak. Swiss franc's weak. The Japanese index is weak as well. So every index is weak except for the US dollar. So I'm not sure where you saw that, Hamizan, that it's going to fall again. It could fall. Don't get me wrong. It could fall. But if you're comparing it to all of the indexes, it's the only strong currency right now. The reason for that's because the inauguration is going to happen on Wednesday, right? So there's a lot of strong morale going on for the US right now. So I think it's going to continue up probably until Wednesday. And then we'll probably see how it moves from that point. But comparing the dollar index to any other index, it's the only index that's bullish right now. So I don't think it'll drop right away. It might drop eventually, but I don't think it's going to drop like within the next, X amount of time. So just keep that in mind. Trell wants me to take a look at gold. So let me pull up gold real quick. Trell wants me to take a look at gold. I'll add you to a list, Trell. And then before we get started, I'm going to continue down with the analysis right here. So let me see. Varun said FTM was allowing some stocks to trade, right? I'm not sure, Varun. They might be, possibly. I don't trade. Even if they did trade on there, I probably wouldn't trade it on there. But they probably will, because like other brokers, like Hugo's Way and stuff like that, allow it. So I wouldn't think otherwise. I mean, it's another asset to trade. It's another way for them to make money. So I don't see why they wouldn't. All right, so Marissa wants me to take a look at Euro JPY as well. Euro JPY. Josh said, did you see it almost hit TP1 on US 30? Yeah, I did see that, Josh. I was asleep though, so unfortunately I missed it. It shot up pretty nice right here. I think it shot up about like 700 pips, right? Really close to TP1. So it shot up to about 650 pips right there. Unfortunately, it came right back down. I was asleep, so I couldn't close out the trade. And that's why I'm hoping for another buy here, Josh, because if we get another buy here, then it'll probably double up and push up our own position right here from yesterday. So if that happens, I'll probably add another position to my trade. So we'll see how this plays out. Meanwhile, we'll just continue on with everything else we're looking at so far. But we'll see. The market's just going to be slow today, guys. Like I mentioned, today is a US holiday, so the market's going to be super slow. I don't even think the stock market's open today. It's just because US 30 is a future, so that's why it's still open. But I think the stock market in general is closed. Let me see this right here. Yeah, because I don't see any movement right here. So I'm looking at CNBC, and then the Dow Jones is closed, S&P's closed, Nasdaq's closed, Russell 2000's closed, and the VIX is closed as well. These were last updated on the 15th. There hasn't been an update since then, because the stock market is closed today. So, I mean, we might not even take a trade today, guys. If we don't get an entry anytime soon, then we're probably not going to take a trade. And if we get a sell, I'm not going to call it, because we're in here for a buy already. So my main goal is for us to get a buy signal here, so that it reinforces our entry from yesterday. And then if that happens, then I'll just double up on my position. But if that doesn't happen, then we're probably just going to sit it out today, because you can see the market is literally just going sideways. There's like no volatility in the market. CNBC isn't even updating. So if that's the case, then we're probably just not going to see very much, movement at all. So we'll keep an eye on that. But other than that, let me see what we have on the list here. So we have NZD USD for Merciba. We have Euro USD for Lisa and Bitcoin. We have Nasdaq 100 for Anthony. We have gold for Trell. And then we have Euro JPY for Merciba. So we have about 3 minutes left on this candle. I'm going to go and analyze NZD USD real quick before we dive into that. Let me take everything off the chart here. Delete everything. There we go with the empty chart. Zoom out from this point. Turn on this K2SR right here. And then I'm going to draw my zones on the chart for you guys. So you guys can see how quickly you can analyze these pairs. If you guys have the K2 indicators, like you literally just drag and draw stuff on the chart to confirm your analysis. And then you just identify the direction of momentum and you're pretty much good to go. So right here for NZD USD, I've drawn those zones on the chart. I'm gonna turn that off, turn on the momentum indicator. Looking at this right here, we have a rejection from this point. We have a sell signal right here. And then we have a break in structure down here. So we have a break in structure. In order for us to really want to take this entry right here, I would want it to close like way down here. Rejection off this point and close way down here. The reason for that is because there's a lot of points of rejection on the way down, right? If you were to enter a sell position here, it can easily reject off this point. It can reject off anywhere within here, reject off this point. And the last thing you want to do is enter a trade and then it ends up reversing on you immediately, right? So that's why I personally wouldn't want to take NZD USD just right now. But looking at the indexes over here, if I turn on the NZD index right there, it's weak. You You can see it's heading down, and then the dollar index right here is, I mean, it's retracing down slightly, but it's still overall strong, right? It's still in an uptrend right here, while this is in a downtrend. So if this continues to push on like this right here, then we would anticipate it to drop even further. But you can see right here that it's pushing up, right? So you can see the small bullish move right here. The reason for the small bullish move right here is because the New Zealand dollar index is gaining in strength right now, while the dollar index is weakening. So with that said, if this is going to push up and this is going to push down, this is going to push price in an upwards direction. But looking at the overall move, the New Zealand dollar index is still super weak, right? You can see it's trending down because it's below the pivots, and the dollar index is still strong. It's just retracing down slightly right now. Overall, you can see the trend meter is green and it's above the pivots. For the New Zealand dollar over here, it's below the pivot, so it's indicating an overall strong downtrend. And with that said, this might be a temporary pullback. So this might be just be retracing slightly before it comes crashing back down for New Zealand USD. So keep that in mind for this right here, Mersabab. I think this will probably drop eventually. But you know, looking at the indexes right here, this is why you see that little retracement, because the New Zealand dollar is gaining strength temporarily right now, while the US dollar is weakening temporarily, right? So that's the analysis right there. That's pretty much what I see happening for that pair. And let me pull back to US 30 real quick to see if we have that entry. It doesn't look like it's going to close. We have about 30 seconds left on this candle. Let me see if I can possibly, sorry, I got to figure this out real quick. I think I have my account copier on like multiple accounts pending, which will screw up my trades. So let me just turn this off right here real quick. Sorry, let's turn that off. And turn that off as well. All right, cool. So those are good on that account. Just looking at US 30 right here, like I mentioned, it hasn't closed. We need it to close before we take that entry. So right here, we have another pending buy signal. If this ends up closing with a buy signal, then we can take this trade. But like I mentioned, volatility is just really, really low right now. So you can see right here, if you zoom out, this is how the market should be moving, right? It should be moving pretty smoothly. However, it's just been going sideways since market open on Sunday because today's a US holiday. So that's pretty much that. Let me go back over here to the chat real quick, see if there's anything else. But yeah, Mersma, no problem. So that's pretty much what I see happening there for NZD USD. But you know, like I mentioned, I wait for it to close below here, or actually get close below here. And then once that happens right there, you can take a short position and pretty much just ride this thing down. So that's pretty much it for NZD USD right there. Let me see what else we have on the list. Next up, we have Euro USD for Lisa and Bitcoin, Nasdaq 100 for Anthony, gold for Trell, and Euro JPY for Mersabah. So I think that's about it from this point. Flynn said 43% long on US 30 and 83% long on gold. So I'm gonna pull up gold in a few, but you know, like I mentioned yesterday, we were looking at the sentiment for gold. Let me just pull it up really quick before I'm not going to analyze. I'm just going to look at it real quick. So looking at gold right here, it didn't even move at all, right? So yesterday we were looking at this and we identified this to possibly swing up and then swing back down. But I'll go into this on a deeper analysis once we get to it, Trell, because I know, Trell, you asked for it. But right now, the current one that we have is Euro USD. So let me pull up Euro USD real quick. All right, so looking at Euro USD right here, let's analyze this from the start. Oh, and if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, just go ahead and like the stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way we can continue to grow this channel and I can continue to come on live for you guys, you know, pretty much every day. It's pretty much all I really want for you guys is to help us grow the channel. I don't really ask for much. You guys don't even need to sign up to K² Premium. You know, I'm doing this all for free for you guys every day. So if you guys can just like the stream, that'll definitely help the channel grow. And I can continue to keep coming on live for you guys so I can show you guys these analyses pretty much every morning. So looking at Euro USD right here, I analyzed this yesterday where we had a rejection from this point, sell signal, and we were waiting for price to break this structure, right? As you can see right here, price failed to break the structure. And then now it's rejecting off this point right here. But I'm going to go ahead and analyze this from scratch so that you guys can see how I figured that out. So I'm going to delete everything off the chart. There is our naked chart right there. And then I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. I mean the K2SRs, and I'm going to draw my zones on the chart for you guys. So there we go with that right there. That right there. That one right there. This one over here. That there. There, and then this right here. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna turn off this light. My freaking eyes are killing me. I think this light's too bright. All right, there we go. All right, so looking at this right here, I've drawn my zones on the chart. So after drawing my zones, you guys can see here that we have some nicely drawn zones on the chart, right? You can see that price respects these zones pretty nicely. Have a nice gap right here. This is actually a nice entry for a sell possibly right here, because you can see that the last time it broke structure, it shot all the way up here. So what do you think is going to happen here when price broke structure? It's probably going to drop all the way down here. So looking at that point, you guys can see that price is in a pretty open area. I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. And then this is perfect. So we do have a sell momentum here. And looking at current price, so let me go ahead and draw this right here. We have a rejection point from there. We have a sell signal right here. And then we have price break structure right here. What happened when price broke structure? It came down and tested this structure and broke right through it, right? So what do you think is going to happen right here after breaking this structure? Price is probably going to drop from this point all the way down there, right? This is probably what's going to happen here. So looking at this right here, I can probably call a late entry for this, where it should be like somewhere around, let me see, right there. And this could be a nice drop all the way down to here. So you guys can see how this works out here, right? I mean, it's the same pattern that applied previously right here. We had a rejection from this point, sell signal from this point, break in structure right here. And then from that point, it drops all the way down to here, right? Same situation again, rejection, sell signal, break in structure, came down to here, broken structure again. It's probably going to come down all the way down there. Vice versa, we have the strategy that works in both directions. So like, for example, here, we have the opposite direction, right? We have a rejection from this point. We have a buy signal right here and right here. So it's the same thing, same signal right there. We have a break in structure right here and right here. So if you were to enter this from right here, it would shoot up from this point all the way up to this structure before continuing up or rejecting back down, right? So it ended up continuing up and it pushed up all the way up to here. So this is pretty much what I see happening here, just in the opposite direction. It's the same exact pattern. We have the rejection point from here, rejection point from here, buy signal right here, sell signal right here, break in structure, it'll continue down from that point. So you can probably take this trade right now if you guys want to. Let me see if I have any margin left. Nah, fuck. Okay, so I don't have margin left on my account, so I personally can't take the trade. Maybe I should just call a trade for you guys here. Call a trade for the premium members, because this does look like a good trade. It looks like it's going to continue dropping pretty heavy. Let me go ahead and confirm this analysis on the indexes here. So we have the euro index right here, and then the dollar index right here. You can see here that we have some retracement because the euro index just had a strong bullish move right here. But you can see overall the trend meter is red and it's below the pivot. So overall it's in a downtrend, while the US dollar index is bullish. So they're complete opposites. The euro index is coming down, the dollar index is going up. So if that's the case, this is probably going to drop pretty far down. So I could probably call this trade for you guys right now. I'm gonna call it for the premium members. So if you guys do want to take this trade, it is available. I'll just call it as a late entry right here. And I can't take it on my freaking account. My margins is full because I have 2 full positions right now running already. Maybe I can take it. Let's see. I'll probably use a tighter stop loss. All right, cool. So I'm in the position. I'll just call this for you guys right here in the premium so that you guys can take the trade with me if you guys want to. Obviously, it's just a late entry. We should have entered up here, but it's okay. I'm going to take a small little loss. Like I'm going to throw away like maybe 8 pips to be into this trade because it looks like such a great trade in my perspective. So Lisa and Bitcoin, thanks for bringing that to my attention. Obviously, I probably would have missed it if that was the case. But good thing. Oh, perfect. So we already have one set up here. Euro USD or no, Euro odd. Yeah, I probably would have missed it, but you know, it's good for the most part. Reason why I didn't call this is because the market was just moving so slow. But now that you guys have brought it to my attention, it looks like a pretty nice trade. So I'm currently in this position live. Obviously, I had to take a small position because I don't have enough margin. I have 2 or 3 positions open already. And you know, if that's the case, I'm risking 5%. So let me see. My Euro USD. My Euro USD position is active. Ticket live on the live stream. You know, just to let you guys know that my position's live because I know not everyone's on the live stream, but I'm going to send it out there. All right, cool. So I think we're good on that point. Let me just go ahead and set the alerts real quick before I move forward. So we've got this TP 125. TP2. Oh, I forgot about Euro US 30. I'll go ahead and take a look at that right now as well. So the reason why I decided to hop in this trade right away is because I looked at the indexes. You know, like I mentioned, the Euro index is super weak. The US index is super strong. So this is going to be a pretty clear, distinct move for it, you know, if it ends up pushing that direction. And on top of that, I still have my odd USD sell as well. It's just a late entry. You know, our entry should have been up here, but it's fine. We can take it from this point. It's not really going to make a huge difference. We're just missing out on about 8 pips, which is fine. So I got my alert set up right here. Everything's pretty much good to go at that point. And that's about it. So let me look at Euro USD real quick. I mean, US 30. Pending signal again, just moving sideways. But other than that, I think we're in the trade and we're good. So we had this right here. Let me see if there's anything else at this point. But yeah, so I mean, that's it for Euro USD right there. I definitely see it coming down. I thought it was such a good trade that I entered myself. I'm in like $1 drawdown. It's not much, but it's probably going to drop down even further with time. Yeah, my margin was getting eaten up because I have 3 positions active right now. I have a odd USD sell, have a Euro odd sell as well, and then I have Euro USD sell right here. I should have just called this as an official trade, but it's all right. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. But yeah, I got 3 active positions: odd USD sell, Euro odd sell, Euro USD sell, all in my live account. And then I have this as well from yesterday, still technically active. We have about 8 minutes left on this candle. So once this closes, I'll come back and take a look to see if we can call another trade for US 30 before the next 10-minute candle. So that's it for USD, guys. Hopefully that helped for you, Lisa, and Bitcoin. I think it's going to drop. So if you guys want to enter that with me, feel free. Otherwise, we will continue on with the analysis. Let's see if there's anything else here as we continue. Ezra said, morning, Shawn. U.S. holidays not helping the markets, but we will wait patiently. Yeah, definitely. Ezra, we're just gonna, you know, pretty much take it as it is, and then as you know, positions start to reveal itself, you know, obviously we'll take them. But you know, meanwhile, we're gonna be pretty careful for the most part until we can have some confirmation in the market. So let's see if there's anything else before we continue on. So Billy said, look at the 8-hour EU. You don't think maybe a possible break of the 8-hour structure? So Billy, let me take a look at the 8-hour like you mentioned. Let's see. Yeah, so on the 8-hour, it looks like it's within a structure right now, like Billy mentioned. You know, if it breaks the structure, it'll just continue to drop down further. But we still have a sell bias here. So we have a sell bias right here. I don't analyze on the 8-hour because I'm not trying to hold a trade for like, you know, weeks or longer than a couple days. So that's why I stick to the 4-hour. But you know, like you mentioned, it is within a structure. So you're correct by identifying that. If it does break below the structure right here, so if it breaks the 8-hour structure, then odds are it's going to come crashing down super heavy, right? So you're good for analyzing that. But I personally, like if I have a zone here on the 4-hour already, and I have zones that have connected, like if I have a zone right here, and then I have a zone down here, then I usually don't go up to the 8-hour. And just looking at the indexes right here, this gives me a stronger indication as to, you know, where price is probably going to go. Because this is going to show you the overall movement for the specific currency. So overall, the euro currency just has a strong bullish spike right here, but overall, it looks like it's going to continue down further. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't even have my microphone plugged in. I don't know if my audio was good, guys. Was my audio cool this whole time? Sorry, I just got my mic. It wasn't plugged in this whole time. All right, I just switched it over. So I think my my audio might be a little better from this point. So yeah, Billy, yeah, thanks for mentioning that, because you know sometimes I don't identify that. Like I never go up to the 8-hour, but thanks for bringing that up. So if we do see a rejection at this point, that's probably where that rejection is coming from, because it's rejecting off that 8-hour support. You know, thanks to Billy over here, I would have never even thought about that. But looking at this point here, even though it's having that small rejection, I think overall it's going to continue farther down. Just looking at the indexes right here. But yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Billy. Awesome identification there. You know, that's why like we like trading with K2, right? Because we have help from everybody. It's not just me that's going and analyzing everything. You know, Billy over here, good thing he was looking at the 8-hour. He was like, hey Shawn, check out the 8-hour. And I would have never looked at the 8-hour, but since he mentioned it, that will indicate why we have this little rejection here. So that's why we have our stop loss kind of wide, because what could happen here is price will probably come up, test this structure for our break and retest, and then come back down further, right? So awesome analysis there. You know, thanks to the whole K2 fam for helping us out here. So that's it for Euro USD. Let me go back to US 30 real quick. We have about 4 minutes left on this candle. It looks like this is going to close right here. If this closes, I might double up on my position for, oh, fuck, dude. My bad. All right. So I didn't realize that this middle thing right here moves when I move it over. So I was actually moving the entry point for this one, but I'm just gonna leave it over here for now because, you know, obviously we know where this position is from yesterday, just so it doesn't get in the way of our current one over here. We have about 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on this candle right here. If this closes, then we can take that buy entry and then pretty much write it up. And then it'll just continue up with our position from yesterday. So this is Josh's Sunday Fun Day entry over here, if you guys are familiar with it. And I'll go over this later too. For you guys here who didn't sit in on the live session yesterday, it's a new US 30 strategy that we're basically applying on Sunday open, which is when the market reopens. And Josh, you know, one of our K2 members actually figured the strategy out himself. I didn't create the strategy. This is a spinoff of my normal US 30 strategy, but Josh has figured out a profitable way to trade it on market open on Sunday. Because, you know, I know a lot of you guys are feeding to take some new trades as soon as the market opens. And if you guys are trying to, this is definitely the trade. You know, Indra's in this room as well. I think Indra did a back test, and Indra figured out that after 15 Sundays, there was 13 wins and 2 losses. So it was like above an 80% win rate. And, you know, if you guys are taking that, like I mentioned earlier, so we had 13 wins times 1,500 pips. That'd be 19,500 pip profit, right? There was 2 losses. So subtract 1,500, another 1,500, you'd still be a net profit of 16,500 pips. So if you were taking just this one trade once a week, and you just took every single trade and you ended up hitting full TP, you know, obviously you'd eventually end up with 16,500 bucks if you're trading a mini lot with your account. So just keep that in mind, and then we will I'll go over this strategy a little later. So I'll add that to the list right here, just so that we can look that over. Josh, Sunday Fun Day, US 30 strategy. So we'll take a look at that. Nice. So Josh said silver hit full TP, FYI. So Josh's strategy works for US 30 and it also works for silver from what he's been looking at. But we decided to test out his strategy and it looks pretty good so far. So we'll see how this plays out. I'll give it another minute for this candle to close. If this doesn't close with that buy signal, then we will continue on with our analyses listed. So I'm going to go over the list real quick. We have Nasdaq 100 for Anthony. We have gold for Trell. We have Euro JPY for Mersabot. And then I'm going to go over Josh's strategy for US 30 after that's all done. So everything here looks good so far. Let's see if there's anything else here to look at before we continue on further. Nice. Yeah. So Billy said, yeah, silver call was one also. 200 for 200 on silver. Good job, Josh. Definitely. Yeah. So, this just goes to show, guys, if you guys have the K2 indicators, you guys can create your own strategies. You don't have to use my strategies. It's just the indicators are going to help you determine, which direction to trade and stuff like that. That's a huge spike in US 30. Let's see if there's anything going on in the news that may have caused that, because the market's closed. So I don't really see what could be causing that drop for US 30. Consumer investments data, this just came out right here. It's UK news though, so it's not really US news. Reuters. Yeah, I don't really see anything here really affecting US 30 necessarily. So it's a bit of a random spike down, but I'm not too worried. So we got about 10 seconds left on this candle. It doesn't look like it's going to close. So we'll move on to the next question over here before we go back and review US 30. So let's see. Ezra said, please, the entry, is it for a sell limit or sell stop? Which one are you talking about, Ezra? Are you talking about Euro USD? This would be a sell limit, but we're already in the trade, so you can enter a market sell if you want. But it's technically a sell limit. We're already in profit, so you probably wouldn't be able to fill it. You could probably just enter a market order right now. But if you're going to enter, you got to enter right now. Don't enter too late because it's starting to drop as we speak. So, all right, guys. So that's it for that. Let me go ahead and analyze the next question here. Analyze Nasdaq for Anthony. So I'll pull up Nasdaq right here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out from this point, delete everything off the chart. And I'm going to do the same thing I do for every single pair, right? The first thing I do is I draw my zones. I'm going to go on the 1 hour here and draw my zones for the Nasdaq. All right, so we got that right there. That right there. There. That right there, and then this right here. All right, so we're good with that right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off the chart. What I'm gonna do next is I'm going to, actually we should look for any lower zones because there's no lower zones here. So let me pull that up real quick. So nothing there. Let me go on the higher time frame actually, the 8 hour. All right, the next zone is gonna be, actually let me go on the 4 hour. All right, so I have that zone drawn right there just to have an identification as where the lower zone is. So I'm gonna take that off the chart. Looking at this right here on NASDAQ, it looks like it dropped quite a bit. I think this is going to push up though from this point. So let me turn on the momentum indicator right here. Sorry, close that. Momentum indicator right here. Okay. Rejection off this point. Buy signal right here. What's probably going to happen here is this is probably going to push up to this structure right here. So once it reaches this structure over here, then we could probably see this either break through this structure and continue up further, or price can reject off this point and come back down, right? So there's a couple different scenarios that can play out here. So like for NASDAQ right here, we have the rejection from this point. and we have a buy signal. So I definitely see this coming up to possibly test this this structure up here. And then once it tests this structure, it can either break above it or it can continue down. So just looking at this here, this is probably what I see happening. But this isn't necessarily what, what can happen here. So scenario number one is price break structure right here. It closes above this structure and then it continues up higher. That's scenario number one. Scenario number two is price can reject off this point. We get a sell signal and then it closes below here. And then we can probably catch that ride downwards, right? So there's two scenarios that can play out right here. I personally wouldn't really trade Nasdaq right now unless you have a, some sort of good entry, because, like I mentioned for US 30 over here, it's just moving sideways, right? The market's closed for the US today. So volatility is just going to be very slow. So I'm not sure what you're looking for, Anthony, on this Nasdaq, but, looking at my analysis here, it can go either way. It can either come up, test the structure and break above further, or it can reject off this point and come back down. So two scenarios that can play out there, but it can literally go in either direction. So I probably would wait for it to either break above the structure before taking a buy, or break below this structure with a sell signal before taking a sell. Because the last thing you want to do is, like I always mention, you don't want to just enter a buy because you think it's going to go up, right? You're going to enter a long position right here, and then it ends up spiking down and stopping you out. Vice versa. You don't want to enter a short position right here, and then if you enter a short position, it ends up spiking up and stopping you out, right? So that's why I personally would hold off on taking this trade. David said smoke rising at the Capitol building. Dang. So is that what dropped a US 30 right now, or the dollar index? Is that why it's coming down? Who knows? But, we'll see how everything plays out. I don't think I really see anything on the news right now. Yeah, I personally don't see anything. But yeah, David just mentioned that there's smoke at the White House, or the Capitol building. And Lisa said a few blocks from south of the Capitol. Oh, but Lisa said they have it under control, so it should be good. But yeah, going back to Nasdaq over here for you, Anthony, I think this could go in either direction. So I wouldn't enter it right now, even if I go on the lower time frame, like the 10-minute. It looks like we have an invalid signal right here. So, and there it goes. It disappeared. So it's the same thing that I mentioned earlier. It's probably going to keep pushing up slightly and then test the structure. Once it tests the structure, this is where you can make the determination whether it breaks above it and continues up higher, or if it rejects off this point and then comes all the way back down. So before you enter this trade, I'd wait for it to either break above it or break below it. Otherwise, you're just not going to have a great confirmation with regard to where it's going. And it's not something that I would just take a gamble on unless you have some sort of insider analysis, that indicates it's going to keep going up or if it's going to keep going down. But yeah, market's going to be pretty slow for Nasdaq, and that's pretty much it for this analysis right here. So let me see US 30 real quick. Looks like we might be getting a buy signal right here because it's a strong bullish move. Let's see if there's anything else right here. Let's see what Billy said right here. Billy said, yeah, Merciful said US Capital just went into lockdown. So let me see if I can pull that up right here. I'll just pull up the news article. US Capital. Yeah, I don't know where you guys saw that at. Are you guys watching like the local news? Because I just Googled US Capital, but I didn't find anything for that fire going on right now. So I was looking at this over here. Yeah, I don't see anything in the news right now, guys, for the US Capital. I just see a lot of stuff regarding a lot of the protests and stuff like that. But it looks like it's nothing that's really that serious. I'm surprised you guys were able to catch that. Okay, so at least it's out on Twitter. Good to know. That's why you guys caught it on there. All right, so US 30, like I mentioned, we have the buy signal showing up right here. I'm going to be waiting for this slightly, and then we'll see what goes on from this point. Billy said US 30 looks to be riding along the top of a wedge trend line using it as support. I know you don't trade patterns, but that's just what I'm seeing. Yeah, no, definitely, Billy. I can see that happening as well. I mean, if I was to draw a trend line from, let's see. Yeah. So like right here, I think this is what you saw, right, Billy? You see it riding that trend line up there. So we have a nice rejection off this point actually. So hopefully this happens right here, and then we can have this skyrocket to the moon, right? that's kind of what we want to happen here. So we got about a minute left on this candle. If it does close, I will call this signal right here. This is crazy, right? Look at this huge volatility movement right here during a closed market. I mean, we'll see how this plays out. Here, let's see. Yeah, so Razul said the news is causing euro to rise against USD. I see it rising like slightly. I don't think it's going to be long term. I think it's just a temporary rise because it's just one candle, right? It's just one candle. It can easily reject off this point right here. Same with the US dollar. It can reject off this point right here as well. So I wouldn't necessarily think it's going to like reverse. I think it's just going to be temporary, but we'll see how this plays out, you know, eventually from that point. So we're starting to see a lot of spikes of volatility right now. Sorry guys, let me open my all right, got my MT4 ready right here. Let me go ahead and get this over here, US 30 sell. Get the setup real quick. So if you guys want to take this trade, you guys can. We have about 15 minutes left on this candle. We're just waiting for it to close real quick. If it closes, we can take this trade. If not, we will hold off until another entry avails itself. So we have 3 seconds left on here. All right, so I took the, wait, the hell? All right, so if you guys want to take it, I'm in the trade. Man, what the heck? I don't know why I didn't take it on my MC4. Let me pull up MC4 on my phone. I don't know what's going on with this, but it didn't take my trade. All right, cool. So I do have my trade right here. Yeah, let me just post this up real quick. All right. So if you guys want to enter the trade, I'm in the trade already if you guys want to enter it. I have 2 positions running for US 30 right now, and we should be good. So let me just send that out right there. So there we go with that one right there. Oh, fuck. Wait. Sorry, guys. That's a mistake. Let me put that right here. Sorry, guys. I got to fix that. All right, so I think this is good. Target, yeah. So there we go with that buy entry right there. Buy FTMO. So for this right here, I'm already in the trade, guys. If you guys want to enter it, I'm literally in the trade already. So if you guys want to enter market, you guys can. Let me just update this real quick. This is why I hate giving signals out because it just gets in the way of everything. But I mean, it's fine. This is to help you guys out here. So if you guys can like the stream, you guys can keep getting these trades. If not, I'm going to keep these trades to myself and to the premium members. So there we go with that right there. We have everything set up. Let me go ahead and send this out over here. There we go. So we should be good at this point. Other than that, let me just set my parameters for my own trades here. And I don't know why this happens with my other positions, because I'm using MT4 on my Mac. That might be it. Stop loss is going to be at, let's copy paste this. Paste, but it doesn't even work. 30559. Target's going to be 30859. All right, cool. So it looks like we're good, guys. Try that real quick on here. I got 2 positions running for US 30 right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back right there. I'm going to set my alerts for this. So we got TP1. TP1 right there. We got TP2. Oh, no, full TP actually. Full TP, 1500. All right. Set that up right there. Stop loss setup right here as well. All right, so we're good. We have a active US 30 position running, currently in profit. Out of my 2 positions right now, I have about 300 in profit at this time. Let me see if I can show you guys. I know, so I can't drag this over. I don't want to mess with this because I'm on a Mac, so I'm using the web version of MC4. I don't want to screw it up, so I'm not going to drag it around. But you guys can see right here, it's currently in profit. Both of our positions are currently in profit right now, looking both good. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how this ends up playing out from this point. So that's it for US 30. We're currently in the position, have my alert set up ready, so we're good to go. Let me go back to the chat over here and see what's going on before we continue on here. Edward said you have MT4 on Mac. So yeah, Ed, just type in mt4.ftmo.com and then it'll pull up the web version of it if you want to use it. It's not the best version, but I mean, it does the job. So that's why I have it active on mine, right now. So looks good at that point. Let me see if there's anything else. We're currently in profit. I have my alert set up, so I'll give you guys updates. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these other questions over here. So I finished up with Nasdaq, Anthony, right? I mentioned, before entering this trade, wait for it to close above this structure before taking that buy, or close below this structure before taking that sell. So looking at that right there, I'm going to check on my odd USD position. It's still looking good right here in profit. Look at my Euro USD position. It's still right here at entry point, so it's looking fine as well. Other than that, let me see what we have next. We have Trell with gold. So I'm going to take a look at gold for Trell real quick. I'll reanalyze that for you guys. And just a reminder, if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat, and then I can analyze pretty much anything that you guys want. No, Ed, it's a web version. It's not an actual application. It's just the web version. So if you want to, it's the same thing. It's just you can't use like specific functions. Like you can't use like any EAs or anything like that, or any like special indicators, because it's just all the baseline stuff, which should be fine for you because you don't like chart on MT4 anyways. You can just place your orders on there, so you don't have to put them on your phone, which is a huge it's a huge benefit for me since I'm on here with you guys. Like it's kind of hard for me to enter trades on my phone while I'm analyzing stuff for you guys. So back to gold over here, guys. Let me see if there's anything else here before I continue on further. So I think that's it for the questions. I'm going to go ahead and analyze gold for you guys. I'm going to zoom out from this point, delete all the zones, turn on the K2SR indicator, and let's go ahead and redraw these zones. So I'm just draw one big zone right there. One zone right there. Zone right there. I'm going to connect these two zones. And then one right here. And then one big one down here. All right, so we're good. So we have these zones lined up right here. Turn this off. Yeah, you know, I'm going to see if I can find the gold index. I don't think I added that to my gold index. Let's see. I mean, there's a lot of different indexes that could be compared to gold. I mean, we could look at the gold futures. Yeah, let me see. Maybe we could just follow it's US dollar per ounce. So gold. All right, so just looking at gold here, you can see that gold is like, it's, you know, overall weak right now. I'm not sure if this is the proper index, so don't quote me on this, guys, because I'm just looking at this to, you know, compare and contrast the direction of each asset. So looking at gold right here, gold's obviously weak. The US dollar is stronger than gold. And with that said, this might, you know, continue dropping from this point. If the US dollar continues to be weak, I mean, to be strong, if it breaks below this structure, then we can anticipate this to drop even further. So once we've drawn our structures right here, you know, what I do next as always is I turn on the momentum indicator to get the bias. So right here, we have a sell bias, right? We have a rejection from this point. Price came down, swung back up, sell signal from this point. So rejection, sell signal. Price attempted to break structure, but it retraced back up. So it came down, tested the structure, swung back up. And now what we're waiting for is price to come right back down to close below there. So looking at gold right here, you know, we'll look at the IG sentiment to see where everyone's trading, like basically all the retail traders. IG sentiment gold. There we go. So like I mentioned yesterday, and like the entire, there's a lot of people that are long gold. So 84% of people are long gold right now, right? So people think that gold is going to be strong when paired against the US dollar. But, you know, looking at the indexes right here, I mean, gold is pushing up slightly, but it's still in an overall downtrend, right? And the US dollar is still strong right here. So if this continues to push down further and further, then odds are it's probably going to keep pushing this down here, right? But, you know, like I mentioned, sentiment is like super far off. There's so many people that are long. So even though people are long right here, I think they're going to end up pushing price down. So in my perspective, I don't want to trade where all the retail traders are trading, right? So if everyone's long on gold, I would do the opposite, because that's what the institutions do, right? They do the opposite of retail traders. That's why retail traders lose at trading. And that's why, you know, the institutions just keep making more and more money, because they're doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing. So like right here, we have the rejection from this point. We have a sell signal. So I technically wouldn't enter this right away. I would wait for price to close below the structure. You can see right here, it attempted to close below it, but it failed to do so, right? And it rejected right back up. And then now it's just consolidating because the market's closed right now. The US market's closed. So it's just consolidating. But I think eventually it'll end up spiking down and closing below that structure. So what I see happening here is, you know, the same situation that happened over here. You know, it's just like I mentioned, every time when you see something happen in the market in the past, odds are it's probably going to happen again. So we have a rejection from this point. We have a sell signal, and you guys can see how it lines up perfectly, right? Rejection, rejection, sell signal, sell signal. What happens when price breaks below this structure? Broke below structure here. Like I mentioned right here, I'm waiting for price to break and close below structure right here as well, right? So if it breaks and closes below structure at this point, odds are it's going to drop from there. So if you enter the sell from this point, full TP for about 400 pips, right? Same situation over here. If price breaks and closes below the structure, we'll probably have another full TP right there for the same pattern just repeating itself, right? Rejection, sell signal, drop. Rejection, sell signal, drop. So that's basically what I see happening here and what I would be anticipating. But, you know, like I mentioned, Trell, I would wait for price to actually close below the structure before taking that trade. Because if you decide to just take it right here and price hasn't broken below structure, this can easily push up from this point and stop you out, right? So if you enter this trade too early and you just decide to enter a seller here because you're like, oh, it's going to drop for sure, right? Your stop loss is going to be somewhere around here, or it's going to be even closer because this is like 160 pips. Your stop loss is probably not going to be that wide. It's going to be somewhere right here, maybe like 90 pips or so. And if you do that, you might get stopped out before it ends up coming right back down. So that's why I would be careful about entering a trade like this, at least until you have, you know, that full confirmation that prices broke below here and that it's dropped. So that's pretty much what I see happening for gold right here. You know, other than that, I don't really see too much to look at because the market's just overall slow. So until the market picks back up, it's just going to be a toss up with regards to, you know, the direction of price up until there's some sort of confirmation, because this can easily swing up to some extent before it comes back down. Because you guys got to keep in mind that there's like so many retail traders right now that are long gold. So what the institutions might do is they might lure some more buyers in, right? So they don't have the K2 indicators. Like most traders don't have these indicators. So if I turn that off right there, there's no way that you would determine, you know, the direction of momentum, obviously, right? Price is just consolidating sideways. And just looking at this here, if there's so many buyers in the market, they might push price up slightly above here. I think this is what might happen. They're going to push it up to this little swing high right here. They're going to push price up to here so that more buyers enter the market, right? So this is probably going to increase from like 80 to like closer to 90. And then once that happens, they're just going to lure people in. Once they lure people in, they're going to spike price all the way down and stop everyone out. And then once it crosses the structure right here, it's going to do what I mentioned right here, and it's going to dump even farther. And then you're just going to see sentiment go from 84, and it's going to go down to like the high 70s to like the mid 70s to possibly the low 70s. And that's how you'll know that people are getting stopped out of this position, because they would have been spiking them out of basically shaking them out of the position, right? Because not everyone can withstand that much drawdown. Because if you think about it, from this point right here to the next structure down here, where everyone's going to put their stop loss, right? They're going to enter a long position. This is how everyone trades. They enter a long position, they put their stop loss right here. What's going to happen is they'll stop them out right here. They lose about 80 to 90 pips right there. Then it swings back up, and then they re-enter the trade, right? They re-enter the trade right here, and then they end up putting the same exact position. Stop loss again right there. They get stopped out again. And then I think what would happen here is they'll probably push it up a little higher, like up to that. And they're like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna enter this trade again right here, enter the long position, same stop loss, same area. Because they think that price is just getting manipulated right here. So they wait for price to come up. As soon as they enter that trade, it drops, closes below here, and then it just dumps from that point, right? So that's possibly what's gonna happen here. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see how the market reacts to everything this week. You know, there's a holiday today, so volatility is going to be low. Also, Wednesday is President Biden's inauguration. So when that happens, this is probably going to spike down super heavy because the US dollar is probably going to be strong. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I see for gold. I wouldn't enter it until it crosses below here and closes. Or if you're going to take a buy, I wouldn't enter until it crosses above here. Because you guys can see here that the same situation happened again, right? So I had this set up here for a sell, right? Because we had a rejection, sell signal, drop. Vice versa, looking at this right here, we have a rejection from this point. We have a buy signal right here. And then we have a break and close past structure above here, right? So with that said, rejection, buy signal, break and structure, you can take a long position from here. So you can literally take either way. If price breaks above here, you can take a long position. If price breaks below here, you can take a short position, right? So like for right here, same pattern, rejection, sell signal, break below structure down here, you can enter that sell. Vice versa right here, rejection, buy signal, breaking structure right here. So if we have a rejection from this point, here's a perfect example, rejection from this point. If we get a buy signal, which we don't have yet, if we get a buy signal like we did right here, and then it breaks structure either over here, over here, over here, then you can anticipate this move up, right? So this is us analyzing gold from both perspectives. There's both ways that can go. It doesn't need to go one way or the other. You just have to wait and see how price reacts to whatever's going on in the world, right? There's a lot of stuff going on this week. So I wouldn't enter this trade randomly right here. I would wait for some sort of confirmation before entering that trade, because you won't really know whether it's going to go up or whether it's going to go down. The last thing you want to do is get into this trade too early and get caught in any reversals or any pullbacks, in any direction opposite from your entry. So right there, you guys can see right there, we had a possible buy signal, right? Pending buy signal, like I mentioned right here, rejection. There we go. Rejection from this point, buy signal right here. It might push up a little higher before either continuing up or swinging back down. But like I mentioned, this is going to be a risky area to trade, because the problem with this is they might just be pushing price up temporarily to lure people in, right? Because I mentioned there's 84% of people are long for gold. The thing is, you don't want to be where everybody's trading. Obviously majority of people fail at trading. And if you continue to trade like everyone else, you're just going to blow your account. So that's why I'd be careful with this. And I possibly wouldn't enter this just yet. So that's pretty much it for gold. Let me see if there's any other questions. All right, so that's it for that. Edward said, gotcha. So I should search MT4. You don't have to search anything, Ed. You could just put in mt4.ftmo.com. It's it's just a straightforward website, mt4.ftmo.com. So if you type that in, Ed, this will bring you to the web-based model. Because if you just go to MT4 like web-based, it's not going to bring you to the FTMO one. You need to go to the actual FTMO one to use the FTMO account, because it's not going to be under their normal servers. So just type in mt4.ftmo.com and then it'll pull up the web app for you. So that's pretty much it for gold. Let's see what else we got over here. Our US 30 positions looking all right, still in profit. Let's see what else we got over here. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part. Let me see if there's any other questions here before we continue on. I think we have a couple other questions here. We have Euro JPY for Merciba, and then I'm gonna go over Josh's US 30 strategy with you guys before we wrap it up. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat so I can analyze anything for you guys. Otherwise, I think this might be a short session today because it is a US holiday, so the market is pretty slow, and there's not really much for us to look at this point with volatility so low. So if you guys have any other questions, put them in the chat now. Otherwise, we just have two questions left. We have one for Merciba for Euro USD, and then we have Josh's US 30 strategy as well that we'll be covering shortly. So that's about it, guys. Let me take a look at Euro JPY right now. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Ed got it fixed. Yeah, if you guys want to trade MT4 on your computer and you have a Mac, you can just type in mt4.ftmo.com, and then this will pull up the web-based MT4 app for you guys. So let me pull up Euro JPY right here, zoom out from this point, and then I will just reanalyze this. So I analyzed this yesterday for you guys. I mentioned that it was pretty bullish, bearish. Obviously, it came down pretty heavy. If we took this trade last night, it would have kept pushing down from there. So let me go ahead and delete everything off the chart. There, we got a naked chart right there. I'll turn on the K2SR. And then from this point, we will continue on. So let me just draw these zones right here. Big zone right there. Big zone right there. I'm gonna go ahead and find these lower zones for EJ. So we have, price is literally at a zone right now. See how far is it from this price down here. Probably connect these right here. So going back to the 4 hour right here. Sorry guys, I'm looking at my phone because I have, yeah guys, someone's asking me, they forwarded me the FTMO parameters. Yeah guys, the reason why, so if it says FTMO right there guys, it's only for FTMO. It's not for, obviously there's no reason for me to put FTMO parameters if it's a normal parameter, right? The reason why it's detailed there, it's FTMO, is because it's only for FTMO. This doesn't mean that it's not for FTMO, because if it wasn't, then I wouldn't put FTMO in there, right? I just put the regular entry. This would be the regular entry for normal brokers, and this would be for FTMO. So Okafor, I can see your messages, but I'm currently in live session, so I'm not going to be able to respond to you just yet. But if you guys, you know, there should be no confusion with these signals here, because obviously these are normal and this is FTMO. But Okafor, I will respond to you shortly. See you sending me some messages right now. So I'm going to respond to you after the live session. I'm not sure if you're in this live session, but if you are, yeah, that's right. What you just mentioned. That's the difference. So this would be regular and this would be FTMO. The reason why it says FTMO is because it's for FTMO only. And then this would be for other brokers. So yeah, right here, I just drew up the zones for Euro JPY. I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator to identify direction of momentum. Right here, obviously, we have a sell signal. So we have a rejection point from up here. We have a sell signal right here. We have a break in structure right here. So when that happens, price generally comes down and tests this structure. So from this point right here, price can either reject off this point, or it can break through the structure and continue down further from here, right? So if this happens and it breaks below structure and we have price close below here, then we can enter a short position from this point. Until this happens, there's no entry available. But, you know, just looking at EJ right here, Merciba, I'm not sure if you took the sell yesterday when we discussed it. If you did, it looks like you would have hit some TP right there, or some profit at least, because the market opened yesterday on the 17th right here. So from market open up until now, it has dropped about 30 pips. So I'm not sure if you took that trade yesterday when we discussed it, Merciba, but overall, I think this will probably drop. So let me just go ahead and take a look over here. The Euro index is right here, and the JPY index is right here. I mean, they're both bearish. So the problem with that is, what's more bearish than the other? So for the Euro index right here, it's having a slight push upwards, but I don't know how long this will last for. This can easily drop back down at any point, right? So if it drops back down, and if the Japanese index shoots up, then this will cause EJ to come down further. But until then, there just isn't an entry really available right now for EJ. I would wait for EJ to either break below here and close below the structure for that sell entry. So if this happens right here, so scenario number one, and this is our main bias right here because we have a sell signal, right? So our bias is bearish right now. So obviously right here, if price closes below this structure, then we can enter a short position. That's going to be scenario number one. Scenario number two is price cuts into this structure right here. Then it swings back up. We possibly get a buy signal over here. And then if that happens, this will likely push up further and test this structure up here, right? That's scenario number two. Because for example, over here, you can see when price breaks structure above this area over here, then, you know, odds are I'll probably continue up further. For example, here we have the rejection from this point. We have a buy signal. It breaks structure. It pushes up. Again, right here, another buy signal. Right here, break structure, pushes up. It breaks structure again right here. What happens from that point? Pushes up even further, right? So this is basically what could happen in this scenario right here. But in the opposite, you know, if we have price break below the structure down here, so price broke above, then broke below, we can catch it right down. So it can literally go in either direction right here. It can either break below the structure, then we can take a sell, or it can reject off this structure, come back, like cut into here, then break above it, then we'll probably have a buy entry right here. So for EJ, it can go in either direction. It's just, you have to wait for some sort of confirmation to determine whether it's going to continue down or if it's going to reject up with a buy signal, and we can take that in the opposite direction. But currently right here, obviously we have a bearish bias. Reason for that is because we have a sell signal. Until we get a buy signal, you know, our bias isn't going to change. So basically what I'd be waiting for here is for price to close below the structure so that we can take that sell. But that's pretty much it, Merciba, for EJ right here. Other than that, I think that's about it for the Forex pairs. Unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But I mean, for the rest of the session, I think we're just going to go over Josh's new Sunday Funday US 30 strategy that we went over yesterday. And then from that point, I think that'll be it. We'll probably be cutting the session short today because there's just not much to look at with the market moving so slow. I mean, obviously we have a couple of positions open right now. We have US 30 open. I have my odd USD open over here. Whoops, let me go back to, so I have my odd USD open right here. I have my Euro odd from last week still open, some drawdown, but it looks like it's going to come back down. And then we have a Euro USD sell right here as well. So we have a couple of positions open right now, but the market's just overall slow. So I don't really see much happening, you know, from now until tomorrow or until London session tonight. So for now, I'm going to go over Josh's new US 30 strategy. And then other than that, I think we're going to be done for the day. So here's Josh's US 30 strategy. Basically what he does is it's a spinoff of my normal US 30 strategy. What he does basically is he will wait for market to open on Sunday. So we'll go back to the previous Sunday, not this Sunday because we're currently in that position right now. But we're going to go back to the previous Sunday. So looking at the previous Sunday, which is January 10th, over January 10th, which would be right over here. And I'll just replay this to this point. So the way that this strategy works, it's similar to the daily strategy, except it's just applied on Sunday. So this is Josh's Sunday Funday US 30 strategy. And for this here, so the first requirement is to look for entries after market reopen, I guess 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it's super simple. You just wait for the market to open. You guys obviously know when that is, like 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Once that happens, you'll look for the first, identify the first valid K2 signal. And then after that, enter on the open of the following candle. And then you'll set TP, stop loss at 1500 pips. It's the same thing that we do for our daily entry, except this is just done on market open. So we look for entries after market open, which is 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's right here when the market opened. As soon as the market opened, we look for the first valid K2 signal. Right here's the first valid signal. We take a short position from this point. We hit our TP stop loss at 1500 pips. That's pretty much it, guys. You let it run. And what do you know? Full TP. So there we go, full TP right there. That's on the 10th. The previous Sunday from that is going to be the 3rd. So we can go back and take a look at that as well. So we got a full TP right there. And then if we go back to the 3rd, we've got market reopen. And this is actually a risky trade because market just opened for the new year. But, you know, following the strategy that that Josh has created is pretty legit. So looking at the 3rd over here, market opened at 2 p.m. We'll go ahead and replay this to this right here. Okay, cool. So right here, market opened at 2 p.m. on the 3rd of January, which was Sunday. And then we looked for the first valid K2 signal. Right here is an invalid signal since it's a sell signal with a green bullish candle within it. But right here, we have the first valid signal. It's a green bullish candle with a buy signal. So this is our valid entry right there. We enter a long position right there. TP stop loss, same situation, 1500. We pretty much just let it run. And what do you know, full TP. So you guys can see how easy that is right there. Full TP for first week of January, full TP for second week of January. And then again today, we took another entry. Same thing, market opened right here at 2 p.m. First signal was a buy signal. And then we took that trade. So pretty much from that point, we took that entry and we're currently in profit for that position. And then we're also in profit for our daily entry right here. So this is basically a double whammy for us, right? We have the entry from yesterday. We also have the entry from today. So if these both hit, it's gonna be 3,000 pips in profit to kick off the trading week, which is great. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Market's pretty slow today, guys. So it's probably gonna take some time for it to actually provide some movement. But other than that, I think that's about it. It looks like that's it for the questions here as well. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out on Telegram or through email. I currently have a bunch of questions to respond to right now. I have about, okay, so I have about 60 emails to get through, and then I have 9 Telegram messages, and then I think that's about it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, if you guys are new here, just a reminder, I go on live every single day, Monday through Friday, or actually Sunday through Friday, every day. During the weekdays, 6:30 a.m. once the New York Stock Exchange opens, so we can take the US 30 entry. So if you guys are new here, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like the stream, that'll definitely help. I'll continue to keep coming on live for you guys every morning so that we can give you guys these US 30 entries and basically any Forex entries. If we see anything, generally, we wait for the next candle close, which is at 10 p.m. in 2 hours. But, like I mentioned, the market's closed and we have no questions. So I'm going to be logging off early today. But generally, we're usually on until maybe 10 or 11. So we're on for like about 5 hours a day. And I'm just here to give you guys free advice every single day. And if you guys want access to the K2 indicators, just go to our website, k2trades.com, and then you guys can have access to the K2SR indicators to draw your zones and the momentum indicator to determine the direction of price. So that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys have questions, just reach out. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the Telegram and I'll give you guys updates with our active trades. But yeah, till then, guys, I'll catch you guys later. And also, wait, sorry, one other thing too. I think I have a training session today. Or no, I don't. So today is pretty much free. So other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Otherwise, if I have another mentoring session today, I'll probably catch you guys at that time later. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys later. See you guys.